All right. Hello. This is video, I think, number 4 of LP's Fantasy Show, a show where I just basically go over my process, mainly for kind of my own sanity, as well as kind of my own recordings of how I think through things. And I'm hoping that at least talking out some of the things that I'm thinking out loud will translate to improvement in the process. I guess kind of like a captain's log, if you think about it like that. Not that anybody goes back and watches the captain's logs, but um, today we are going to be talking about a couple of things. Um, After the last show I posted, where I went through my favorite targets, basically my favorite players to target in rounds 6 through 12, I just really got the itch to draft. Mainly because, and I think I'm trying to just be in general more spontaneous. Mainly because I was looking and kind of reviewing my ADP draft board a little bit afterwards, and I kind of noticed some like choke points, I guess you could call them, within the draft. Values that I think are hard to get, but can be valuable to get. So, for example, to me, a difficult thing to do, but to me would be the perfect draft, is this fourth, fifth round. And I've put a note here on Robinson. The dream is to get an elite tight end with Allen Robinson, because then in our first 3 picks, we can spend however we'd like with, 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs. I just think elite tight end plus Allen Robinson gives you so much just gives you so much of an advantage. Realistically, it's probably Kittle, but if there's some way you can get Darren Waller and Allen Robinson, I think that to me is just so money. Not and as long as you don't mess these guys up here, these picks here. So as I'm looking at it, maybe 106 is the best shot. But to me, and you kind of saw that on the last note, 103 is the best position for me to do this, and I'll kind of talk about this here towards the end of the draft. But my goal going into this was I wanted an early pick going into this draft that you can see here. This is how my team ended up, and I'll go through each of these picks here and kind of review how the draft went. But I wanted an early pick for a draft because I was hoping to get Jonathan Taylor, who in my last video I explained I changed my perception on a little bit. I think he's now more of a money play, and I was hoping to maybe get like a Pierce and Matt Ryan stack with Jonathan Taylor. But I definitely I wanted an early pick just because I wanted some options there, and I wanted a chance at Jonathan Taylor, especially. Mainly Taylor and Barkley. That's what I was looking at actually coming into the draft, Taylor and Barkley. The realization about Kittle and Robinson, I'm sorry, didn't come till after the draft. So my goal going in is let me get an early pick because I want Barkley. And I was also looking at my other money plays. I want Wilson or Olave. I want Lance. And I knew if I had an early pick, I had a really good shot at a lot of these guys. Penny, too. So most of my money plays are skewing just to the left here a little bit. Gronk too. Gronk was someone I wanted to pair someone with, and I knew I could get Gronk early and I wouldn't care because I think his ADP is going to climb. So basically the main things for me were I wanted a shot at Barkley, I wanted a shot here, and I knew I could get Gronk. And I knew I could pair Gronk with just one other elite tight end, and I'd be set at tight end. So I'd only have to go 2 tight end. I was hoping to go 2 quarterback and then hammer out as many money plays at running back and pair Lance with Gronk too. Or sorry, pair Lance with another elite quarterback option too, or at least a decent quarterback option there. And then you only have to go 2 deep at the onesie positions and stock up on running back and wide receiver. As far as the draft went out, I was really in love with my first 5 picks. I ended up with the 1-2. I'm sorry, I ended up with the second overall pick, and McCaffrey went. And I was questioning if I should go McCaffrey. He gets taken. Okay, I'll take Taylor. This happens, Jonathan Taylor's ADP is like 1.1, I think. And so what I think that means is this happens once every 12 times. So I had to take that value there. Um, and I was totally on board because I get to pick here earlier, and I wasn't afraid of Saquon going here. I take AJ Brown, which I think was the plan going in, and I kind of planned out my picks as I went here. Um, plan is plan was to go AJ, and if Aaron Jones is there, we smash him. Aaron Jones goes a pick early, fine. Take AJ Brown with the hopes of a hurt stack later, and then take Saquon Barkley. That was the play here. If Barkley got taken, I'd think about Pitts or I'd think about Keenan. But to me, it was Saquon Barkley the entire time. Oh, Keenan even went the round before. So it was basically Barkley or bust. I guess it could have been Pitts. So, anyways, we get back to the fourth round here, and I'm hoping and praying that Kittle falls. We hope for Waller, Kittle, or Herbert because I wanted to pair just an elite tight end with Gronk and just have really two, to me, strong tight end options and not being worried about only having two. The main reason here is that the reason I jumped into this draft was the Gronk news today that he started working out with Tom Brady. Now, maybe his ADP hasn't moved. It didn't move enough in this draft, which happened at night the day of that news came out. Gronk's ADP didn't move enough where I lost out on him. I think it'll move once he is officially back. And I've been getting a lot of Gronk. And Gronk was someone I was out on last year. But, man, the situation only got better for him. A.J. Brown is gone. He could still catch touchdowns. He was an elite tight end option last year, and he was cheap, and now he's cheap again, and I can get him as an elite tight end option, I think. So I wanted to get in early on Gronk before his ADP rose because I think if he officially comes back, there's a chance Gronk goes in like the 7th round, with Hawkinson or Schultz, and if not, he's going in the 8th. And so right now, I think I changed him to a money play. I think after the draft, or sorry, after the podcast that I did last time. I changed him to a money play because right now he's 4 rounds cheaper than what he should be. I kind of got sidetracked there, but we were hoping for Waller or Kittle to pair with Gronk. I'm picking here at the 102. Kittle's supposed to go at the, a couple picks before me. He goes 1 pick before me there. Kind of causes me to panic because I was hoping for Waller, Herbert, or Kittle. I end up with none of them. I was going to pass on Lamar. I passed on Lamar Jackson because I knew I'd probably go Trey Lance later. So I go Allen Robinson, who to me, his ADP is here, 5th round, 6th pick. I took him 4th round, 2nd to last. So, 6 or 7, maybe even 8 spots early. I get that that's a bit of a reach, but to me, he's far and away. He should be going here. He should be going before Mike Williams, and I don't think it's close. So I'm totally fine with this. I figured Lamar might go with this guy who went running back, wide receiver, running back. He goes Cortland Sutton, which is a surprise to me because Jerry Jeudy went way earlier. But then he went Juju Smith-Schuster, so no quarterback here, no Lamar Jackson, even though Lamar Jackson, this is technically a fall for Lamar Jackson. So I took Lamar. I don't know, I didn't love any of the other options, like Chris Godwin, DK Metcalf. Yeah, Breece Hall, I get it. But I felt strong at running back, and I figured if I went Lamar, that would allow me to pair him with Trey Lance. And once again, I get that twosie. So when Kittle got sniped, I went with Robinson because I wanted to guarantee I get Robinson. And then I took Lamar because I wanted to pivot. I wanted the twosie position at tight end, but I pivoted and made it twosie position at quarterback with, possibly going 3 tight ends later because we're going to have to spend lower capital on it. Lamar is mine. A lot of players obviously go in between, and then we end up with Josh Jacobs. This was not part of the plan. The plan was Elijah Moore, Devontae Smith, or TJ Hawkinson, because once again, I was chasing that tight end spot there and pairing Gronk with at least someone good. But it was a little early for Hawkinson. And more importantly, Josh Jacobs fell. He fell, not egregiously far, but he fell 10 spots. And I thought, okay, I'll take the value there. and make this a real, running back heavy for me at least. And I would kind of chill out on running back for the rest of the draft. Then Jalen Hurts falls 9 picks, and I was already, high on Jalen Hurts. So here he is falling to me. He should have been going in the 6th round here. I get him at the 7th here. So to me, that was pretty fortunate and caused me to shift because I was originally planning on Lance, and I would have got Lance if I wanted. But I didn't take him because Jalen Hurts just fell. After that, I was hoping for Wilson or Olave. You can see that here. Hope for Wilson or Olave. Take both if they're there. I knew I needed a tight end, and Olave and Wilson get taken, so I take Goddard to make a super stack with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. So I'm feeling pretty good, honestly, at this point in the draft. I'm not super mad. I've got Taylor, I've got Barkley, got A.J. Brown, I've got Allen Robinson, I've got Jalen Hurts, the quarterback stack with Robinson, and also a tight end stack with Goddard. We know we're going to take Gronk. We have an extra running back here. We're feeling pretty good. We only have 2 wide receivers, though, and so that's when we start to address wide receiver. This was the hardest pick in the draft for me, pick 9. I took Chase Claypool at 98, which is really, really early because his ADP is 109, which is about 10 or 11 spots higher than where he should be drafted. But if you add 10 or 11 spots, I'm not getting Chase Claypool. I was very worried about what wide receiver I was going to end up with here. I knew there was no way Chase Claypool was making it that far, so I was definitely concerned. Of the options left, I really liked Chase Claypool's upside. To me, he has more upside than Kirk and Gage and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. He is one of my money plays, I think, currently, because of how cheap he is. His situation only got better in Pittsburgh to me. And so I'm really excited about Chase Claypool, just especially with the guys he's going around. So I went early there, but I also got a 10-pick discount on like Josh Jacobs. So I'm not like super stressed about it. But at the end of the day, maybe we shouldn't do that because then we're sacrificing the advantage we just had. I'm hoping that Chase Claypool just outscores 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 7 of the 9 guys we're talking about here. I luck out though. I get Tyler Boyd on the way back in round 10, and I'm really happy about this. I would have taken Tyler Boyd over most of these guys here, at least in this best ball. I was hoping for Lazard. And honestly hoping for Penny. And if Penny was there, I probably would have taken. And he fell even further than normal. He ends up here when I think he's supposed to go like here. 11th round, maybe 10th round. So 10th round, and he gets taken in the 12th. Really, really late. I could have taken him here as well, but once again, I had spent the pick on Josh Jacobs already. If I'm going to spend this 6th round pick on Josh Jacobs where he's fallen and I've taken that value, I need to stop at running back because I've drafted guys highly where I think they're going to perform. So I went with Gronk because I had to. That was the whole point of this draft. And one of the reasons why I'm happy with this draft is I felt like I stuck with the plan. The overall plan. I made certain shifts when necessary, but I didn't panic and I didn't like lose my cool and like change the plan from what I wanted to do going in. I get Gronk. So now I've got 2 tight ends I could think about stopping. And so when I get back, I'm hoping that I get Jahan Dotson. I do. I didn't know what other wide receiver to take here, so I also took George Pickens, which, kind of helps me with Chase Claypool. If something happens to Deontay Johnson, I've got those 2 guys. Or if something happens, one or the other. I just wanted that upside. While I don't necessarily believe in George Pickens, fully. I also, I'm okay with the idea of me being wrong on George Pickens, especially because the Steelers have been right so often on second round wide receivers. And I have heard some good things about George Pickens. He's got like a wide receiver one body. He's been a wide receiver one. He runs wide receiver one routes. The bad things I've heard is, obviously some health concerns there, but some character issues. Not character issues. That's such a lame phrase. But some immaturity, I think, has been reported. Maybe none of that's true, and maybe none of it even matters. I mean, I took Chase Claypool, and I don't love his attitude so much. So here I am with all of a sudden, I had two wide receivers, and then in the next 4 rounds, or in the next 5 rounds, I take four wide receivers. Really love the Jahan Dotson play. It's one of my money plays, as I explained in the last video. First round wide receiver, before Treylon Burks, before Sky Moore, before Christian Watson, before George Pickens, all these guys, and he's going way, way late. I'll take it. After that, it's where it gets weird. I wanted to play the positional values that I had, and while I did like the fact that I got Jahan Dotson and George Pickens, I still have my doubts about George Pickens, and it's not like Jahan Dotson I expect to be like a consistent contributor, I guess. Neither is Tyler Boyd, and so I just wanted as many guys as I could to kind of attack, maybe win me a week here and there. The KJ Osborne pick was completely just he 10 picks later than normal, and the players going around him, I wanted to go wide receiver, and I could not find anybody that really interested me. Alec Pierce had already been taken, and maybe that's a guy I should have went over George Pickens. I really considered that. There was just not enough here for me. I didn't like Osborne. I didn't like Hamler. I didn't like Marvin Jones, Sammy Watkins, Robbie Anderson. All of them just like made me throw up a little in my mouth. So I just took them. And I knew I wanted to be wide receiver heavy at the end of this draft. So I only end up with 4 running backs, but I feel like the capital I spent was pretty good on them. Maybe should have gone one more, and the one more I wish I had gone was Deontay Foreman. I feel like I missed out on him. I really wanted Hassan Haskins, but of course his ADP of 201, he goes at 171. I end up with Julio just for the absolute upside. People were taking AB in the final rounds of best ball tournaments a couple years ago, and then he ends up on the Bucks and he goes ham. And so for me with Julio, it's just I'll believe he's done when I see it. And then I went a third tight end just to play it safe, I guess. Played a little risky at running back, but I think there's a legit shot like that this team could do some damage. This is like Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Allen Robinson, Chase Claypool, Goddard, Gronk, Lamar, Jalen. This is like a get off the bus team. Like when they get off the bus, you're like, God damn. So I know that means nothing, but right now I guess it's something. I just really like the possibilities with this team. I'm not completely sold on the Eagles yet, like I am, and I'm not. So not bad. After the draft, to me, the biggest thing that happened was this. This really messed with me, and changed how I drafted. Why, I'm not entirely sure, but it just did. Mainly because I really want, to me, the team would have been perfect if I could have got Kittle and Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't be drafting Jonnu Smith. I'd be changing probably how I drafted wide receiver. I wouldn't necessarily care if I got Josh Jacobs, right? If I got Kittle and Robinson, and I would be okay with taking Jalen Hurts, right? I'd take Jalen Hurts and then Trey Lance instead of reaching on Chase Claypool. And I wouldn't be taking Dallas Goedert. I'd be taking, I guess, whoever else. I'd still be taking Chase Claypool. So, the fact that Jalen Hurts fell did kind of bother me because I took Lamar Jackson in a mini fall there. So, there's some ups and downs, but to me, what I discovered was the choking point just about here, where I really hope to get elite tight end with Allen Robinson. Because if you can get elite tight end, you can pair with Gronk right now, and you only have to take two tight ends. To me, you get Robinson as your wide receiver two or even wide receiver three. I think you're feeling great. There's just too much value here. So to me, this made me kind of think about where's the best draft spot for me right now. And for me, I think I liked the 102, but I felt like I got sniped on a couple of picks. So maybe it's just recency bias and my recent experience bias. But to me, even just looking at my ADP board, I think my favorite draft spot right now is 103. And the reason I can get 103, or the reason I really like 103, is number one, it gives me the best shot at Kittle, while I think to me giving me the best shot at Robinson and the best shot at Barkley. Because we don't want to take Barkley at round 2, we want to take Barkley in round 3. And we don't want to take Robinson in round 4, we want to take Robinson in round 5. And so that still, by allowing ourselves to do that, we can take whoever we want at round 2 and almost see it as like just like an extra pick. Same thing here at round 4. We can take almost whoever we want. We hope to get Kittle. We want Kittle, the elite tight end, and Robinson, because then that allows us, that also being at the 103 allows us a perfect shot at Gronk, and it gives us perfect shots at Olave or Wilson. It allows us to take Lance. There's so many things you can do. 101 is great. Don't get me wrong. But no tight ends right now are going at the 101. Freiermuth, sure. But are you going to go Freiermuth Gronk? You could. You could. That's if Freiermuth gets taken. But you don't love that as much as you love like Christian McCaffrey with Barkley and Kittle and Robinson. You have AJ Brown. Like that team to me is all of a sudden stacking up really, really strongly. So one of my thoughts at the beginning of this offseason was I can't wait to take Christian McCaffrey at the 103, because I knew based off of the years that each of the top 3 running backs had that Jonathan Taylor was probably going to go 101, Derrick Henry was probably going to go 102, and Christian McCaffrey was going to go 103. Didn't work out exactly like that. I think at the beginning of the offseason it was Taylor, CMC, Henry. Most people worried about the injury with Derrick Henry rather than Christian McCaffrey. Not sure why. But Jonathan Taylor, so I was not sold on Jonathan Taylor. I was like, let's wait a little bit, because I wasn't sure about the quarterback situation, offensive line situation, all that stuff. So I was in on CMC, and I was like, I can't wait to take the discount. Well, it hasn't worked out perfectly, but CMC is going as the 103. And so for me at the 103, no matter how you kind of slice it, I get CMC. I have a really good shot at Aaron Jones or AJ Brown. I get Barkley, a really good shot at Barkley. I have a shot at Kittle. I have a shot at Robinson, or I'm for sure probably getting Robinson. In the 6th round, Hurts fell to me into the 7th, so I maybe Hurts or Burrow falls, right? And you pair the dream would be pairing Hurts with Lance, right? And then you've also got that AJ Brown stack. Then you come back in the 7th round. That allows you to take almost anybody you want. Take CEH a few picks early. Take Devontae Smith to get the stack as well. Take Dylan. Take Elijah Moore. There's a lot of guys at the 6th and 7th round, 103 turn that I'm not in love with, but I do like, and I feel like there's good opportunities for players to fall to you. Then in the 8th round, if you're picking at the 3rd pick, technically that's Olave on ADP, but I just don't think that's happening anymore. Today, the news came out that Michael Thomas is still waiting to come back. Like, something is up. Even if Michael Thomas is there, like I obviously already have him as a money play, you're smashing Olave. Take Olave in the 7th for all I care. Fine. It is kind of weird though. Like, Jamar Chase was going in like the 7th round last year. Towards the end of the draft season, but it also gives you a chance at Wilson, a pick early. both of those guys I think are going earlier than expected. But with this Michael Thomas news, I definitely see Olave's ADP rising, and I could see Wilson's ADP just sticking and just staying. After that, you get Trey Lance. After that, you could get Rashad Penny. It's just a 103 to me. There's so many of my money plays around, and outside of Chase Claypool, fine. Like I get most of my money plays here on this side, anyways. Um, I know it's cliche, to say that earlier the pick the better. I don't know if it's cliche, but I know a lot of guys like these late picks, especially in like my home leagues. In my home league, uh, guys will just trade out of the 103 and back to the 110 just for free, just to swap all the way. Um, while I have seen the value of these kinds of these draft spots in the past, right now to me this is such a money spot. The earlier the better, honestly, um, because on the one hand I would agree that, well, like players like Eckler and Najee Harris, who to me I think would typically go in the back end, are not going in the back end. Like Cook or Mixon really doesn't excite me that much. Kelsey does in this range, but like everybody else, Andrews too, I get it, but that's like in the second round. You don't want to take him in the first. Like you're not taking Kelsey or Andrews in the first round. Maybe Kelsey, but definitely not Andrews. Um, and so, the earlier the better for me. And that's to me right now why 103 is my favorite spot, just because the money plays truly line up. I feel like I've kind of lost track of thought and I've been rambling a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and finish it up here. The puppy has just launched, and I was going to maybe hold off on drafting for a little bit until this launched, but ask and you shall receive. Here is the puppy, only $5 an entry fee. I've already drafted 4 Best Ball Mania 3 teams. What that means is I've already spent $100, unfortunately. And we're going to definitely be throwing a lot more, probably more drafts into the puppy, just because it's cheaper, and I can get more reps. I have not made an ADP board for the puppy. I might make an ADP board, but obviously for my first draft, I might just use the Best Ball Mania 3 big board as my ADP board. I feel like this. I don't understand why certain ADPs would shift or change. Players might be more willing to take players at value though, because before, with Best Ball Mania 3, since it launched before, people might be hesitant to reach on certain players because other players are getting the same player at better value, or other drafters are getting the same player at better value if you reach on a player. So with the ADPs of this puppy tournament, it might just be good to draft early. And in fact, I might just jump into a draft right here after I finish recording. But players to me that I think could rise in ADP, like I think Pittman could end up like over here. I think he could end up ahead of Keenan. Mike Williams has really risen in ADP. I think CeeDee Lamb could go higher. Aaron Jones, I think could go higher because people aren't going to take him here because players have been getting him here. Maybe Barkley, but his hasn't really shifted at all. Allen Robinson might be like this. Mike Evans to me should be going like here before before a lot of those players. He's definitely a guy whose ADP has risen a lot. So I could see some Olave, Wilson, their ADP is rising. So I could definitely see some differences here with the puppy, and I might have to adjust. And honestly, might be okay with taking a little bit earlier, even by a round, because I'm technically doing a 2-round discount if I think that's where ADPs are going to end up. But I've got to be careful about that, because if I do and the ADPs don't actually move up as expected, due to a fresh round, basically a fresh tournament, a new fresh tournament, I would obviously be losing value there. So I'll officially end it there. Thank you for listening, if you are even listening. I don't normally say this at the end, but please hit the subscribe button. The more, the better. Hope to grow some sort of community here or some sort of following. But I got to try to remind myself that that is not the end all be all goal. So if you have listened, thank you for listening to thank you for listening to me, and thank you to me for sticking with the plan and keeping on recording. I'm gonna go draft a puppy team, and on Saturday I will probably do another draft. Maybe I'll review one and draft one for the same recording. Review the one I draft tonight, and then draft another one on camera. Till then, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.